Sub Rosa is the third full-length album from Cologne, Germany-based grunge doom metal band Daevar in 3 years. And they've been hard at work on making sure that their whole idea went from kind of a traditional stoner doom metal sound, something influenced by Sleep and maybe Windhand, to something that is now more so their own, which they've dubbed as grunge doom. In terms of stoner music and stoner rock in general, grunge is not a distant memory so much as something that has been repeatedly revived along with Sabbath grooves forever. And so what is different about this is more so the unique guitar tone and setup for this band, the emphasis on minimalist simplicity, the DIY mindset, as well as the strong conviction of the vocalist and her lyrics especially, where this is more than just a stoner record and it's not just a grunge influenced record. It is a sort of a more personalized style that they've been working at again for several years. I had covered Amber Eyes back in 2024. I praised it highly, but I felt like it wasn't fully there, and it wasn't exactly a breakout moment, but it was a suggestion of where they would go with it. There was at least one song on that record that indicated where this album would, and it was a title track, a shorter, catchier, simpler piece. And that is really what we get here. We get the huge sound of Daevar back again, but we get much simpler, quicker songwriting that does resemble influences from groups like Nirvana, L7, and whatnot. So we'll catch a clip here and get a sense for what that sounds like. There was no way they were changing that guitar tone. I mean, it was so perfect on the last record. They've somehow made it sound even bigger here, and this means that my biggest complaint about this group at this point is that the bass guitar really isn't a prominent or virtuosic extension of their sound in any sense. That would change it quite a bit. There is a trade-off. It is such a great sound, and it really does translate well into these quicker, more punkish songs that are still rooted in doom metal in a lot of their dynamic and cinematic reveal and movement. But overall, the songs here are more punkish in their design, simpler, catchier. You can definitely feel the Nirvana influence, and some of the other parts of this are maybe more classic in their touch upon quicker doom metal pieces and livelier heavy metal in some sense, but really this is much more of a rock record with a big huge sound, to the point where I'm not sure we will need to call this a metal band in the future, other than the fact that they've got a huge guitar sound. For a 30-minute record, there isn't a lot to say here other than each song really does hit. These are all the best songs they've come up with to date, I think, and a lot of sounds that are just inherently catchy. If you don't want to follow what the lyrics have to say, that's all good and fine, but this is a solid, catchy record, stuck in my head, sounds great. The louder you crank it up, the better it gets. For me, there's kind of a nuclear hiss to all of that sound, and for me it was just a nice, pleasurable sonic experience, which I don't get a lot from delving into different types of metal all the time. So I had a great time with this record, and I would basically recommend it highly for that reason. It's a good change of pace. It's a fine songwriting, a really distinct sound, despite how generic all of its pieces kind of sound on paper, and just a solid record. See what you think on March 28th when it releases, and go ahead and read my review for more of my thoughts.